What's going on, everybody? I'm your host, the Carolina Collector. Before I begin, a big shout out to my viewers, my subscribers, my supporters, my eBay customers, my friends, everybody. Thank you so much for being supportive of myself and of each other. If you like what you see and you enjoy the content, if you haven't done so already, smash that like button, comment in the comment section below, hit the bell to receive notifications. And of course, subscribe. If you want to help to support the channel financially, check out my eBay store where I'm selling graded slabs and loose sports cards and from time to time various other items. I actually sold one of my very first slabs that I ever had graded, which was a Corbin Carroll 1010 Bowman Platinum. So I've already printed out the shipping label. I just got to pack it up and get it out of here. So thank you so much for the customer that bought that. Yeah, orders have been coming in sporadically lately, but I try my best to get them out, and I'm going to get that Corbin Carroll out hopefully sometime today. But with that being said, these sneakers need no introduction. If you recognize them, you'll know what they are immediately. And I made a short about my 2016s, but man, when these arrived at my front doorstep, and thanks to Soul Priorities for shipping these to me, it brings the little kid out in me, because I had friends that had these shoes back in the 80s. I never got them, unfortunately, but as an adult, if you have any disposable income, if you're able to get them, I suggest you get them, because I can see that these shoes are going to sell out everywhere. I mean, I've seen a ton of reviews on these guys. I'm going to give you my honest take on what I see here. We are looking at the Jordan 4 White Cement 2025 Retros. And man, when they said they were going to go back to the drawing board to redesign these guys, to make it look more OG, to make them look like the actual 1989 shoes, they weren't kidding. And these things are just amazing. Look at that back tab. There's even speckles on the Nike Air, just like on the OGs. Look at that. The gray on these with the speckles, it looks even more cement-y, if that makes any sense. You got your air pocket right there, or your air cushion, and they look bigger. I don't know if that's just an optical illusion, or maybe because the pairs I'm going to show you I've worn already, plus I still have another pair of these I've had on ice for a while that I did wear a couple times, but we'll do a side-by-side with some Jordans here. The mesh looks really, really nice, and it's not one piece, because I think the mesh on the recent retros, yeah, they're separate. So like you could tell right there that the mesh is actually separate than the recent releases. You got the Widow's Peaks on the toe box and right there on the webbing. I don't see any gluing issues or anything like that, but you can definitely tell something's different. They definitely went back to the drawing board. And again, I'm looking at my other Jordan 4s that are off camera that I'm going to do the comparisons with. And yeah, you could definitely see that. Again, thank you, Soul Priorities, for shipping these out to me. Yeah, these shoes are just amazing. It's got the Nike Air hang tag on there. I prefer this than the hang tag with the chain, because you can scuff and scrape up the wings on this guy. And wow, I'm taken back by this. This is just amazing. My goodness. Wow, does this bring back childhood memories? So we're going to look at the box as well. And unfortunately, my box was dinged. There's not much I could really do about that. I mean, it is what it is. I'm not going to wear the box. There's the Soul Priorities label right there. You got all of the sizing information and what have you. And unlike the 2016 drops, again, it kind of sucks that this thing's got a ding in the corner. Oops. It didn't come with that plastic bag stuff. It came with this speckled paper. And the sneakers were also separated by this piece of paper right here. But I'm not really concerned about the box. I wear my shoes anyway, so who cares? Most guys, they keep their boxes. I don't. I wear my shoes, There's only one pair of Nike Airs that I don't wear, and that's the Travis Scott 4s, which I talked about a long time ago. So here are the 2016s that I've had on ice. These are ones I've worn maybe a half a dozen times, if anything, and immediately you can tell that something's different. Now, on the new issue or the reissue retro, you can definitely see the differences, you know, on the sizing, on the cuts, on the design. The gray is darker than the 2016. The speckles are a lot more prominent on this pair, and they're like that on the pair that I wear. As a matter of fact, I happen to have those right here. This is the pair that I wear outside, which I started retro briding. But yeah, you can tell, like, look at the ankle right here, for example. You can see the cut is a lot more pronounced here than it is here. It's much more wide open over here. And the spacing between the wing and the midsole, if I can get the tag out of the way here, it's a lot wider than it is here. So in other words, the sneaker is cut much lower on the 2016 drop than it is on this guy. I like the speckling and the cement color more on this. I mean, it looks, man, it really brings out that 1980s feel, because this is exactly what they look like. My God, talking about a nostalgia trip. But you can see right here again, you know, once you start going towards where the toe box is, you can tell that they made some changes and went back to the OG design, because right there you can see this is a lot more prominent than this is. In other words, there's more material on the shoe, which means that probably when you wear this, you're probably going to have to tighten these a lot tighter. I know most guys, they don't tie their laces, they let them hang. You wear your shoes how you want. I wear my shoes how I want. I'm looking at the mesh. Yeah, the mesh is separate on this one than this one, so my mistake. But the mesh here is a lot more prominent. In other words, like the material on here is real thin, and this is really thick, which is really nice. I like that a lot. I actually like this a lot more than this, and you can see the difference in the cut of the leather right there between the two. The tags obviously are different. I believe the OG 89s had this, but it had Nike Air on it. But I'm happy with this hang tag, because, you know, you don't want this to be flopping around in the breeze and scuffing up your shoes. We'll take a look at the front end here. You look at the tongues. The tongue on the 2025 editions are so much thicker than these. On the 2016s, there was no widow's peak. On these, there are. So that's another difference. On the bottom, let's take a look at the soles themselves. I don't think there's any difference between the two, but both of these have herringbone. The stars are pronounced on both of them. And again, as I said, I've worn these a few times, so they're a little dirty. But they're pretty much exactly the same. I don't see any differences between the two. The inside of the sneakers, there is a little bit of a difference when it comes to the insole. You have that giant Nike Air on the inside. I don't know if you can see that right there. Where this one goes back to the OG. It's just Nike Air right there. And then, of course, everybody loves to do this with the pull tag. Let me pan the camera down here just a little bit. I just hope she doesn't want to fall like that usually occurs in my videos. So the pull tabs, the heel tabs feel exactly the same. Obviously, there are differences in the way the shoes are cut on the heel. As you can see right there, this is much higher. And I've noticed on some Jordans that I'm about to show you, for my feet, I'm a size 13. To go back to the OG like this, I believe Jordan wore a 13 to a 13 and a half. He was a pretty tall guy. I'm 6'1". I think he's 6'7". I'm not sure. I don't remember. You guys can correct me in the comments section below. But not saying that this is a problem, but these particular shoes, especially with the two pairs of Jordans I have off camera, you'll understand why. This happens to cup the back of my foot a lot more. Excuse me. So I like this better. Not saying that these are uncomfortable, but I'm sure when I try these on, they're going to feel a lot better than these. But clearly you can see how different the two of them are if we put them side to side. Let's give this a turn. And you can see the difference right there. Everything is more pronounced. I want to say everything is elevated higher on this shoe. And that's it for the side-by-side comparisons. I can't really see anything else. Now, that's the pair that I have on ice, and this is the pair I currently wear. So we'll get these out of the way, and you can tell I love that OG patina when these J's get old like this, and you wear them and wear them and wear them. A lot of guys, you know, they'll go through all the trouble to restore their shoes and stuff like that. I don't. It's just because I like that older look to them. I mean, obviously, I don't want my shoes to be dogged like they went through a leaf trimmer or anything like that. But I like them as is. But because, you know, I love the shoes so much, I ended up getting 2 pairs of them. And again, that's the 2025. And then you got the 2016 right there. So... But let's compare this to the military blues, which I've worn a couple times, so they might be a little dirty to you sneakerheads out there. That's the military blue, and you can see it's got the same cut on the back as this one does, because they went back to the drawing board on this shoe as well. And I love wearing this shoe, and I pretty much have my shoelaces set where I like them, where they're not too tight, but they're not too loose either. And I definitely double tie these so that this way they don't come loose and I don't have to keep playing games with them. And they pretty much just slide onto my feet. And again, because of the way these are cupped and these are redesigned as well, it fits my feet so much better. And I'm sure that when I try these on for the first time, they're going to cup my feet as well. And then we have the Nike SBs, the green and whites. And these have that same cut. I'm so happy Jordan Brand and Nike went back to this design. You know, these shoes, arguably, out of all my sneakers, are the most comfortable. That just might be, you know, my mind and my body playing tricks on me. But when I wear these shoes, they're so comfortable. I mean, my God, I've never had problems with the Nike SBs. I'm aware that they came out with the navies recently. I'm going to skip on those because I got the military blues. I don't want to overload my shelf. You know, I've already went too far buying sneakers. You know, I'm not like your traditional sneakerhead. I wear all my shoes. But now that I got these, I'm probably going to leave these on ice for a little bit until I wear out the current 2016s that I did a short of on my channel, because except for the patina that's on these, there's nothing wrong with them. I'm going to wear them anyway. They're my shoes. I'll do it with the hell I please. Sneakerheads don't like that. Don't care. But let's try them on and let's see what they look like, and I'll give you my final thoughts. Well, if you have a wide foot like I got, these are going to fit you perfectly. My God. I can tell you right now, these are so comfortable. Oh my God, they even have a little spring to them too. And what's nice, like I said, I don't even have to tie these up too tight. My foot just slid right into this shoe. And I could tell you, it hugs my feet really nice. And again, because of the way they designed the shoe to look like and feel like the 89 kicks, the originals, the OGs, I tell you what, I'm so happy that they did that, because, you know, a guy with big feet like I have here, they really, really feel comfortable. Oh my God, man, these things are just amazing. I would have to say that these are probably going to be one of those shoes I'm going to treat with kid gloves. I can see it already. But oh my God, man, excuse me, talking about the nostalgic feel. So these are just incredible. I'm loving these already. I might go take these outside today and give them a test drive just to see. These are going to look really good with New York Yankees jerseys. If you're a New York Mets fan, like I am, forgive me for the throat clearing. Pollen is still pretty bad down here. Anyway, yeah, if you're a New York Mets fan and you have their gray away jersey, any black jersey, gray jersey, or white jersey is going to look good with this, regardless of whatever team. But obviously, you know, with Nike being the manufacturer now of Major League Baseball jerseys, being a Yankees fan, their jerseys are going to go quite well with these. And I do have a couple of away Mets jerseys in gray, and plus I have the 1986 Gary Carter away jersey from Majestic, and that's going to look really nice with these too. So Well, let me get these back into the kitchen. I'll give you my final thoughts. Well, I don't have to tell you what I think. These things are definitely a must-have. I am definitely having a nostalgia trip. So my game plan is, again, I'm going to wear my 2016s. That doesn't bother me at all. I don't care as much as the younger guys do. Listen, I'm a 48-year-old grown man. I'll do what the hell I please. You know, I'm not going to have people telling me what to go do with myself. You know, I love my shoes. I'm going to wear my shoes. Eventually, I will give these a run for their money outside. But for right now, as you saw on camera, I have one that I wear. Another pair I have on ice. These will go on ice for now, up on my shelf. And like with the military blues and a Nike SB pine greens there, I wear those shoes outside. I clean them up every so often just to keep them nice and fresh. But these are a must-have, ladies and gentlemen. I have to admit it. You know, again, I wanted to get these before the release date, not just to review, but I really don't feel like competing with eBay scalpers and flippers out there. And support small businesses, man. Sole Priorities is pretty dope. You know, they're not sponsoring me or anything like that. I bought some shoes from them over at my local mall. This time around, when I tried to order some, they didn't have them. I just got lucky, you know, 2 days later, and they had them available, and I scooped up this pair from them, and they showed up, you know, around 7 calendar days, so here they are. Support small businesses, ladies and gentlemen. It always helps. But, you know, I really didn't want to pay more than retail, but just to avoid the headache, I'm like, let me get them, and I don't have to leave my home and go compete with other sneakerheads and eBay scalpers and flippers. And, you know, I'm sure there's going to be arguments and fist fights. I wouldn't doubt it. That's not for me. I bought these because I had them as a kid. They will look really, really good with some of my sports jerseys. And this is part of, you know, one of my many hobbies. It's just, you know, it brings me back to a time where, you know, things were much more uncomplicated and innocent, you know, when I was a kid back in the 80s. It's just, it really brings me back to some of the good times I had. But anyway, that's pretty much it. I highly suggest you get these. They're already coming out with replicas. If not, they already have replicas of these out there already. I'm not saying, and I'm not promoting any or telling anybody to go out and get replicas, but I'm seeing videos of these already being replicated and sold. So just be careful out there. That's why I went to Sole Priorities. I know I'm getting legitimate stuff. They always have legitimate stuff. You know, I bought a couple pairs of shoes off of them, even though I paid slightly above retail for some of my pairs. At least I know what I'm getting is the real deal. I don't have to worry about counterfeit crap. But, you know, there are people out there that if they don't want to dog their sneakers, like, you know, like what you saw at my 2016s here, you know, if you want to keep a fresh pair on ice or you don't feel like spending that kind of money, you do what you want with your money. That's all I'm going to say. If you're an adult, you have the ability to make critical decisions. You do what is best for yourself and your finances. So that's all I have to say, but these are a must-have, and I can see sneakerheads and people that are into nostalgia and sports gear, they're going to want these. So I can see these really going far this year. Get them if you can. Anyway, that's it, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much again for your support and your time. Like, comment, subscribe. Hit the bell to receive notifications, and again, check out my eBay store, the Carolina Collector 001. Thank you, everyone. Until next time, take care. God bless, stay safe, and I will see you all very, very soon.